we're here today with local actor Connor McGrath. Connor performed for Brantford Presents Take 1 and is back to perform again for Brantford Presents Take 3. Thank you so much for joining us today, Connor.
Thank you very much for having me.
So Connor, what have you been doing to stay creative during the isolation?
It's been challenging, just being between work and the apartment pretty much. So that's enough to drive anyone who's creative a little squirrely. Luckily, I've got a number of projects on the go. One immediately next year. It's a show I've been sitting on for about 8 years. And we're super excited to be able to put that on finally. But outside of that, I've been in touch with a couple of other people for scheduling things in the years to come. And there's been a big push from a couple of my friends to get me to start writing again. So I wrote a show that was put on at the Left of Center Festival. I can't even remember how long ago, I think like 7 or 8 years. And since then, I haven't really attempted to put anything on that I had wrote. So there have been a couple of people who've seen that, and they thought that that was something that was going to waste. So they came to me with a couple of ideas, and they said they weren't good at writing scripts, and I said I'd give it a shot.
Awesome. So Connor, you are a writer, you are a performer, musical theater performer as well.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like for you to perform online?
Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be anything similar to performing on stage, but it ended up being like my heart was pounding for that. Part of that was because I wasn't super familiar with the monologue. I made a last minute change up. But it was very exhilarating, I guess is the word. And it felt like an actual performance, which was very surprising for me. But it was a delight to be a part of that, and just watching all the other performers go on, and like the joy they felt being able to share their craft with people again. You know, it was really touching to see that. So yeah, it felt a lot like an actual live performance.
Great. And have your ideas about live performance changed at all due to COVID? And if so, how?
Yes and no. I've seen a number of recordings of shows I've done in the past, and I still I hate watching it. There's just something that doesn't translate well between doing a show live and then watching it afterwards. I don't know what it is. It's just there's a disconnect there. There's a different feeling. But that being said, with the way we've been performing in these lockdown events, there's still that excitement in the air when you're watching people do things live, right? So there's a chance like someone could mess up, or you know, something that isn't scripted could happen. You just don't know. So in terms of streaming things, like live performances, I think that's a fantastic thing. You still get that exhilaration, that rush when you're performing live in front of an audience. It's just a little different, that's all.
Connor, you grew up in this area, grew up in community theater. What aspects of all of that led you to take further education at Sheridan College?
So I came into drama late in my high school career. Before then, I was more interested in other activities, but I wanted to be a part of what my friends were doing. And you know, once I kind of got that experience, and I had the bug bite me, I was hooked. So there was one, I forget, I think it was a spring, Ichthus Theater came around. They were looking for people for a show, The Outsiders. And that was when I was just getting like falling headfirst into the theater world. So I figured, hey, I'm just going to do everything that comes up, and that's what I did. So I auditioned for that, and the rest was history. I just, it's something that has changed my life for the better, and I want to get as much of that. I wanted to get as much of that in as possible, and I wanted to get better at it.
So Connor, because you've had a lot of kind of an extensive background with the community theater in Brantford, why is having professional training important to you in Brantford?
I just in general, I think training or exposure to the arts is extremely important for people. Like I said, I've looked back on what my life would have been like if I never experienced this whole theater thing. And it would certainly be a poorer life, I think. I've met a lot of fantastically interesting people, some genuine people. And it really helped me grow as an individual. It caused me to think outside of what I normally would have, approach things from different angles. And it really forced me to grow. So getting other people involved with the arts, especially in this community, has been a big drive for me in the past couple of years. Just because I want other people to be able to experience that. And obviously, the higher caliber people they have to learn from, the better for them moving forward. And there are a lot of transferable skills you can get through theater that are just helpful in everyday life. Helping people talk in front of other people if maybe they're awkward socially. Being involved in theater really helps with that. So I think it's extremely important that people have those avenues open for them.
I would definitely agree. One of the things is that there's a lot of community theater in Brantford, which is really awesome. But as an emerging artist yourself, who has studied professionally, I'm sure you've seen firsthand the amount of artists who have left Brantford to go to Toronto to pursue a career. Why do you think it's important that artists are paid here locally in Brantford for their work?
You've really hit the nail on the head with that question. I've known a number of people personally, very talented people who've left the community to go try and hone their craft elsewhere, in the attempt to try and make a living off of it, which is difficult no matter where you are. But in order to build, a good culture in Brantford, to retain people, to really grow the community, we need to have those creative forces stay in town. I've been involved with people. I've created my own theater company at one point. Not mine, it was a group of us, but and that's where the Left of Center festival came out of. We helped create that, and it's really sad to see those people move on to greener pastures, so to speak. There just wasn't a drive here to kind of nurture those kinds of creative people, and it's heartbreaking. So I'm really hoping that we're reaching a point where Brantford is going to be able to not only embrace those people, but invest in them and make the arts community thrive. And that doesn't just mean theater, just arts in general. And we're seeing some fantastic things come out lately. Like Art Battle has been fantastic. It's just really good.
Excellent. So we have Brantford Presents Take 3 coming up May 22nd, 7 o'clock. Can you give us an idea of what you'll be doing for that performance, Connor?
Yeah, for sure. So it came from a conversation I had with Martin. It was a show he wrote years ago, and we performed it. It was called The Strong Hand of Love. Anyways, the character that I played in that had a monologue that I just fell in love with. And as soon as I read it, I wanted to audition for that character. There's just it touches on a lot of ideas I really associate with, or I can identify with. So it's kind of an easy monologue to emotionally attach myself to. And I honestly just had a really fun time with it. So I'm hoping that it'll kind of hit on the same vein, and I'll be able to channel a little bit of that energy for that performance.
Sorry, Connor, last question. Where can we find you on social media to follow you?
So in terms of like acting, I'd have to say my social media game is kind of weak. So I'm just under Connor McGrath on Facebook. Madman McGrath is my Twitter handle. And then you can also follow the Hudson Public Facebook group. That's where I spend most of my daytime hours trying to make the place run. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Connor, for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we're looking forward to seeing what new plays you come up with.
Thank you.